We have now added pictures into this video. Hi everybody. I wanted to do something a little different today and do an appreciation video of two of my favorite country piano players and two of my favorite keyboard players, period. Spooner Oldham and Bobbie Nelson. For those of you that don't know, Spooner Oldham was part of the Muscle Shoals house band for many records called the Swampers, and he played the organ solo on When a Man Loves a Woman, or he played on When a Man Loves a Woman, and so many other hits for Muscle Shoals. And when he has also in the late 70s and early 80s and into the 90s and 2000s, he worked with Neil Young in I think Spooner's first appearance with Neil was on Comes a Time when he did some of the keyboard chores. And and then he was an integral part of the first International Harvesters band that Neil put together in '84. And I just love his keyboard playing, especially on he can really be heard on Neil's live album from the International Harvesters period, A Treasure. And one of my favorite songs that he's featured on, I believe, is Bound for Glory. His keyboard work is so tremendous throughout the album, but particularly on Bound for Glory, and he had continued to work with Neil sporadically throughout the years. The last time I believe he worked with Neil was in 2005 when Neil was doing the shows for Heart of Gold at the Ryman. Now on to and he is one of my idols, and I just love his playing to pieces. And if you haven't heard him, you don't know what you're missing. Just listen to anything. Just listen to When a Man Loves a Woman and anything by Neil Young from the early '80s to like the early '90s to 2000s, and you'll hear him. He is tremendous, and he is one of my idols. And on to Bobbie Nelson. Bobbie Nelson was Willie Nelson's sister, but she has since passed away, and she was still performing, and she was 91 when she died. She was still performing with Willie up to her death. Actually, her last recorded appearance, I believe, was on Willie and Family record, where he was singing with his daughters and sons, and I think that was Bobbie's last appearance. But basically, Bobbie Nelson uh, basically raised Willie musically. I mean, she taught him music, and the first time that I heard Bobbie play was this was really the first time that I had kind of fallen in love with Willie's stuff. Was on an HBO special that they did, that Willie did around 1983 when Tougher Than Leather came out. And I saw her play Beer Barrel Polka on the piano, and I just fell in love with her piano playing, and her playing is so integral to Willie's sound that when she died a couple months, or when she died late last year, and the first Willie performance that I saw without her, it was kind of hard to watch. I mean, he was still good, but it was kind of hard to watch and know that she's not there, because the sound drastically changed without her there. And like I said, she was so integral to his sound. She's kind of irreplaceable. And she almost reminds me of, her playing almost harkens back to old-timey piano players in old-timey saloons. That's what it kind of reminds me of, and especially when she does stuff like Beer Barrel Polka and Down Yonder, which to me are her two standout showpieces. And I've seen Willie 5 or more times, and I had the extreme pleasure to see Bobbie play all of those times, because she had been in the band up to the time she passed away. So that was for years and years and years. She was always a constant in Willie's band. So when she passed, I kind of took it a little hard, and I just love her playing, and I would recommend, as far as recommendations go, I would recommend that you check out, as far as Willie Nelson's records go, I recommend that you check out Tougher Than Leather and Redheaded Stranger, because those 2 records really show off Bobbie's playing. And as far as the live records go, check out Willie and the Family Live, which is a record that we are going to do a review of at some point. And that also really shows off Bobbie's playing, especially the Redheaded Stranger medley at the end of side 1. There's an instrumental section in that medley that almost sends chills down my spine every time I jam to it, because it's so good. And and check out any live version of Willie's version of Will the Circle Be Unbroken, and you will hear a masterful performance from Bobbie. And so I hope you enjoyed this long, meandering tribute to two of the greatest keyboard players that ever played the instrument. And thank you for listening.